the Daily Exchange. We're talking about security tokens, the Aspen launch. In fact, we've got Stephane with us on the show. Talking about Bitcoin, a little bit about the Korean market. We'll see you guys right after this. And welcome back, guys. We are back in business. Apologies for our delay. Did you guys catch that Rick Klink interview with the multi-digital exchange security tokens? Incredible stuff. We've got Stephane Debaets joining us, and we'll introduce him in a second. Just overnight, Bitcoin trading down slightly to around the 6,200 and $69 mark on GDAX. We just took a little $200 drop. If you were to zoom back in time to 2017, this time this year, it was trading around $6,400. So year on year, we're currently slightly down. Slightly down. The 10th anniversary of Satoshi's original Bitcoin paper is coming up, and we'll be having a celebratory 10th anniversary this week. So do join us for that. Ethereum trading down again, slightly as well, $195. We took a bit of a low here. Interestingly, but talking about Tether for a second, Tether is trading back almost at that 1-to-1 ratio. If you check out this, we're looking at around 98.61 cents. We topped down sort of, I think, 75, 76 cents at one point previously in the weeks before. Interestingly, we had a survey by Invest in Blockchain asking, do you believe each Tether is backed by $1? 42% of people said yes, 58% of people are saying no. There's only 875 votes currently. Do you guys agree or disagree? Put it in the comments. Let's talk about it. Do you think Tether is correctly backed? Top coins otherwise in the top 20 right now, all down about 2 to 5%. Very interesting. We've got Monero and Dash about $100 and $150 respectively. Sitting a little lower, but where they historically have traded. Moving on, I want to introduce my guest today. Our guest, Stephane Debaets, the man himself. He is the president of Elevated Returns, and famously, they have tokenized the St. Regis in Aspen. Welcome, Stephane.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you joining us. So the St. Regis in Aspen exchange token offering was a security token offering, and I believe you guys did this using Templum. Do you want to sort of talk us through the raise and the tokenization of the resort? How did it go down?
Yeah, it got on actually pretty well. So we as a company were the owner of the hotel, and we wanted really to make a figure case about what tokenization of real estate would look like. You know, everybody's talking about it, everybody's building a platform, but really nobody had really taken an actual property, a famous one, and put it on the blockchain. So we went out there and say we will raise anywhere between 1 million to 18 million. We ended up raising the full 18, which is good news. The bad news is it was really, really hard because it's still super early. So you do have people that do get it, but it comes down to really educating the market, moving away from the crypto fanatics that are more used to the utility token that go up 50% in a day, down in a day, and go back to people looking for fundamental value and say, you do have downside protection because you're buying a cryptocurrency which is backed up by bricks and mortar. You may have slightly less upside, but at least you do have the opportunity to play with the big boy and to own a piece of a trophy asset.
So when you own one of the tokens, what do you actually own of the Aspen?
You actually own a tiny bit of the real estate. Mm-hmm. So you are like a micro Blackstone, if you want. You can actually enjoy the benefit of ownership of a trophy property without having to write a check of $500 million or thereabout. You have all the economic interests. What you don't have the free beer at the bar, because we figure it out that if you want a free beer at the bar, you can actually use the dividend you're going to receive and use your dividend to pay for the beer at the bar.
Sure. And who were the investors that actually invested into the St. Regis? What kind of investors were they?
That's a very good question, because when we went out there, we were looking at what the distribution would look like, and we would have say you would have, let's say, 1/3 of crypto fanatics migrating from typical cryptocurrencies into something more stable. That did not happen. And I think that's probably because the level of Bitcoin and Ethereum are fairly low right now. But we do see plenty of high net worth individual and really real estate specialists looking at saying, rather than own or keep money at the bank, which depreciate every single day, why don't I put some of my money to something that I can relate to? So we had a lot, in fact, we had a lot of Asian interest. A lot of people in Asia believe that to have exposure to US real estate is a good thing. So we had a globally diversified book, and I would say a highly sophisticated book.
Wonderful. And each token, you know, obviously this is a very unique asset. It's $10,000 per token, is that right?
No, we had a minimum investment size at $10,000, but actually each token is $1.
$1, right.
So,
and are they divisible? So can you get 0.5 or of a token? No.
Yeah, it's actually the same thing. So it's an ERC20 token. So the blockchain is divisible the same way you would do it with a normal Ethereum coin. And you could effectively fragment it to 9 decimal, just like you could do with any other cryptocurrency.
Wow! So you could have a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of the St. Regis.
Yeah, you could have that. And actually, it's a good point, because so many of our repeat customers at the hotel, when they learn that they can actually or will be able to buy in the secondary market a piece of their favorite hotel, they get super excited about that.
Wow. And is it going to be traded on an exchange, or are you like the multi-digital exchange? Or I know you guys worked with Templum. Tell us about the exchanging of the security token.
Well, as you know, we did a 506c private placement under US regulation, which means you do have a lockup period apply to the token, but as soon as you get out of the lockup period, those tokens will be traded on multiple security token exchange, and people will be freely able to buy and sell as they wish.
Wonderful. And in terms of choosing to do a digital, a tokenization versus a traditional, digitization of some way, why did you choose the security token versus doing the traditional asset or share sale?
Well, I think there's 3 reasons for it. First is, once you have a security token written on the blockchain, you truly have a global product, which means you can market the offering in multiple jurisdictions, and people buy the token for different reasons, which makes a good market. Secondly, the cost of transaction are much cheaper to do a security token offering rather than a traditional IPO. And third, that's what people want. You go back and look and say, I'm going to sell REIT shares. They look at you like you're old man talking a boring language. So there is a paint job element to the offering, and that's what the market wants.
Yeah, very cool. In terms of your background, you have an extensive experience in assets. Stephane, do you have any other plans for tokenizing other assets in the future?
Yeah, I mean, what we truly want to achieve as a firm is we want to replace cash as we know it. We think cash is a depreciating value that should not exist to start with. And I think that if in the future we can all own a couple of coins in our wallet and exchange asset for product and services, we will all be looking much better. Just to give you 2 data, if you look at 100 years of depreciation of money, you lose approximately 95% of your value over 100 years. If you go into bricks and mortar, You beat inflation and you make about 30 or 40%. So what we would like to do is really to create a monster real estate fund, unleveraged, and to use it as a reserve for real estate currency on the crypto, on the blockchain.
Incredible. Last week we had Rick Kling from the Multi-Digital Exchange, had an interview with him. If you want to take a quick look at just a little segment here we had from the show, I'm interested in what you think, Stephane, about it. Joel, do you want to spin up the clip?
What a security token allows us to do, or an asset-backed token, where it comes in really, really useful, is if you want to raise a lot of money. So if you want to do a gold mine, or you want to actually build a property, or you want to build something, if you need a lot of capital and the cost of capital would be high, you use the security token where you can raise from lots and lots of people small amounts of money to do big projects. So we'll see a lot of it with gold-backed tokens, property.
Okay, so essentially, Rick's talking about raising money with security tokens, and obviously people can have a small segment of that. Do you think, I guess, in terms of, an STO, really the core principle there is that you can divide up the value of an asset. You can provide the tokenization of it to lots and lots of people, and therefore gain a bigger investor base?
Yeah, that's actually true. I mean, it's a known fact that the more you divide something, the more you go wholesale to retail, the more value you create. The second question that a lot of us is asking, and some of us may have some answer, is how are you going to make sure that those tokens are liquid? Because it's a good thing to have a token trading on an exchange, but unless you have a market, it's an illusion. So I think that the smart people out there are the people working on liquidity solution. And once the real retail, we know retail wants exposure to real estate. It's a no-brainer. But I think everybody's kind of watching right now. And as soon as there's going to be a couple of quality offering out there that will start trading, you will see it will be a tsunami of security token offering out there.
In terms of STOs, a security token offering versus an IPO, do you see a bit of a trend away from IPOs towards STOs?
Yeah, I think that, if you look at the US, for instance, the IPO market is regulated by the Securities Exchange Commission, and the Exchange Act date from 1934. That's 90 years old. I think that the beauty to move into a new digital asset class, it gives the regulator the opportunity to be more current, to rewrite the rules, and to actually address market mechanisms that may be prevalent today, but were not prevalent 90 years ago.
Totally. Makes sense. A bit of an old, do you think IPOs potentially might be phased out even?
Yeah, I think that it's a matter, it's not a if, it's a when, but I think 5 years from now, 10 years from now, every asset class would have moved into digitalization and will govern by a new set of rules. And I think that, we are just at the age of it. I say to everyone, we are at the dial-up age of what digitalization of assets are going to be in the near future.
Totally. Understand. We had these utility tokens, I guess we had a massive cooling off from these as well. Stephane, and obviously we're moving to, do you think we're moving away from utility tokens and to STOs?
Yeah, I think that, once again, I think that, now we're at the time where you shake up the tree and you see how many monkeys are left hanging. And I think that the reset into securities token is a good thing to do, because at least there is tangible asset. I really have to apologize.
That's all right, Stephane. I appreciate you coming on and joining us for the show. Very much to talk about the St. Regis, and hopefully I'll see you in Aspen in January. We can tell everyone how it's all going.
Okay, I see you there.
Thank you so much for joining us. All right, guys, in terms of moving on, thanks so much, Stephane, for joining us there. I do believe that is quite an asset, the actual physical asset, the St. Regis Hotel. Joel, would you stay at the St. Regis in Aspen? It looked pretty nice.
Yeah, it looked amazing.
It looked absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I would definitely. I think, for work, a couple of days just for some research.
Some research. All right, trading trends. Checking in on South Korea right now. We've seen a massive increase in Korean won trading. Very interesting. It's had a recent increase. It is unclear as to what is actually driving that. Last year we saw the kimchi premium in terms of the actual value of Bitcoin was much higher in Korean won. That has obviously been traded away. But recently, over the last weeks, cryptocurrency has been seen as a relatively less volatile asset than the Dow, for example, which is down 3%. Cryptocurrency is actually Bitcoin ended the week up 1%. Interestingly, obviously, those non-correlation of those two assets as well. At the same time, Korea recently received a bit of a regulatory blow when it emerged that the Korea's cryptocurrency exchange would no longer afford the same venture firm tax benefits that other local startups have. There's also been a lot of talk in Korean politics recently about ICOs and finding a place for them to regulate them as opposed to outright banning them, which is very interesting. Definitely a lot of movement happening in Korea right now. Check out the movement, a lot of volatility, a lot of movement right now from the won trading. Moving on, breaking news. Last night it was announced Bitstamp is going to be purchased in cash. Apparently, it's rumored that it's been purchased for $400 million cash from a Belgium investment firm. It also owns South Korean exchange Corbett as well, which is really interesting. The firm was NXMH, a subsidiary of NXC. There it is. All right, in terms of prices, guys, just closing up, we have Bitcoin trading at $6,311, Ethereum at $195, EOS at $5.15, Bitcoin Cash at $416, Ripple at 44 cents, Ethereum Classic at $9. Geez, Ethereum Classic's down a bit. Tether at 98 cents 71. It's coming back to parity, very close there. Tron at 2 cents. Pax trading at 0.001595 Bitcoin. Some interesting movements right now. Binance Coin at $9.50, Bob. Did see that recent move down, guys, and that'll be interesting to see where does Bitcoin go from here. Do subscribe, guys. Do join us for the daily exchange, and press the little bell on YouTube, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah!